What's up, all you good fellow fly guys? You know who it is, the cat in the hat, your resident fly guy, your chief architect, Michael Andrews, StarArchitects.com, here to help you redesign your frame of mind when it comes to the styling thing. And welcome to another Discourse in Dress, some expressions for your ensemble and some sonnets for your style. Now, yes, I am in the same thing. Don't judge me. We're going to knock out all 4 of these weeks. You're going to see me in this immaculate ensemble for the next 4 weeks, for the next 3 weeks, because we just have to take care of some housekeeping things. And so I wanted to make sure that I gave you all of this knowledge so that we don't have any hiccups in between that time. So yes, I got other clothes. And even if I didn't, this is still a great look to get through with. But I wanted to talk about the 5 ways you may be wearing your pants wrong. And the reason being is because it seems like, again, as fashionable as men have become, they've become more interested in the flow or the feeling of a look instead of the information that they are going to exude. And so I'm going to talk to you briefly about how these things are coming across, even though you may think that they look cool. Again, it's no shade to anybody who wants to be fashionable, but just remember, fashion is fleeting. Fashion is often for the young and unaware, and it does not have any staying power. So the first thing that men are doing wrong is they're generally wearing their pants too low. And now, before I continue, let me be clear. They're wearing their dress pants, they're wearing their trousers too low. And if you are wearing jeans, that's a different conversation. Most men are generally wearing their pants, whether they be dress or casual pants, on their hips when they need to be wearing them on their waist. If you are a melanated brother, listen, we got hips, we got thighs, we got ass. So it's important for you to understand that if you wear your pants higher, then you will allow for your pants to actually sit better and to create a longer streamline that will actually make your legs look longer and thinner if they're tapered and tailored well. The second thing the second mistake that I find that men are making mistakes with is they are putting belt loops on their suit. Now, if you're buying off the rack, then you probably already have belt loops on this, and this is going to be just a step beyond the wearing belts and suspenders. We all know that you're not really supposed to wear belts and suspenders together. It just looks crazy, and it serves no purpose at that point, right? Most men, when they are wearing their belts, they're wearing them with suits, and it creates a bulkier look when you're trying to be more formal and you're trying to look sleeker. You're trying to look like you're handling your business and moving throughout the day. And so it kind of defeats the purpose of you having everything tailored to fit and then having a slight bulge that is extending beyond your waistline because you have a belt on. Even if I'm doing leisurely business in my suit, I want to make sure that I have a clear line. So for most of those, for most of my business suits, I have side adjusters, or I will just put on braces and will have suspender buttons in my suit. Now, again, if I'm wearing a sports jacket or a blazer, odd jackets, that's a great time for you to actually wear a belt and for you to show some flair and have some fun with your belts, much like the belts that we have here at Trilogy Clothier, made by our partners at House of Fleming. So we can be a little bit more colorful and a little bit more fun in that space, but I wouldn't really recommend you wearing them for your suit because it will decrease the formality and the business and the astuteness that comes with your style. So the third way that men are often wearing their pants wrong are they are adding cuffs to a flat front pant or keeping no cuffs on a pleated pant. Now, the reason why this doesn't really work is because a cuff's general function is to add some anchoring, is to add some weight to a look. When you're wearing flat fronts with cuffs, what it does is it creates a bottom heavy type of look. Now, it doesn't necessarily look ridiculously bad, but if you do non-cuffed pants, again, you still are okay in that space. I just generally don't recommend it. It just doesn't look as complete or as balanced as the other one. This is not necessarily anything that's going to be completely wrong. It's just kind of a fashion faux pas, in my opinion. So the fourth thing that I would say that men are doing wrong when it comes to wearing their pants is they're either wearing them too long or wearing them too short. Now, the guys who have no fashion sense at all, no style acumen, no style awareness, are often wearing them in puddles when they are walking around because they don't understand the proper break of a pant. The other extreme side of the spectrum, we have guys who are extremely fashionable, and with the new shrunken look, it's not really new anymore, but that more contemporary shrunken look, guys are wearing their pants above their ankle bone. Now, again, that's a personal preference, but especially for a tall guy, that breakup makes you just look like you have on some high waters, and if you're a short guy, you're just making yourself look even shorter. So from a functionality standpoint, it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense for you to do that to your pants. Better for you to have a slight break if you're going to create a break where you're breaking just on the shoe, or you can do a slight break is what I usually call it, where it's just touching the shoe, or no break where you have about an eighth or a quarter of an inch not touching the shoe. Now, if you are going to do that, that's when you can put on some extra socks that are colorful and doing, all of the different patterns or different things like that. Or for the summertime, if you want to do some no-show socks and you just want to show some ankle in that space, just make sure that you have lotioned or oiled your ankles. Nobody wants to see any ashy ankles. All right. Now, the fifth way that guys may be wearing their pants wrong is through the fabrics that they're wearing. Now, this could fall into two very different categories. The first is the seasonal wearing. The second will be the functionality of it all. Now, when it comes to seasons and when it comes to fabrics, depending on the weight, you can pretty much wear any fabric in any season. So it's important for you to understand the weight for the fabric that you're wearing, but most guys are wearing the wrong weight during the wrong season. Now, on the other side of that, a lot of guys are wearing fabric that is very delicate and is very easily damaged in the wrong space. I've been a victim of my own ignorance in this space. When I first got some wool flannel trousers, they were gray, Ralph Lauren polo trousers. I loved wearing them, and so I would walk around all the time in them, and this was when I was living in New York. And what ended up happening was, in between my crotch area where my thighs were rubbing together, I was causing a whole lot of abrasion, and that created pilling. Pilling is when you are getting those little nubs of fabric that turn into those little balls that show up on your sweater. Well, those can also show up on delicate fabrics in your suiting. And so what ended up happening for me was it ended up wearing a hole in my crotch area. And that's definitely not flattering. It's not a comfortable thing. And you're always worried about somebody seeing that hole, especially when you first notice it, which is what happened to me. So it's important for you to understand the functionality of the fabrics that you're wearing, so that when you are running throughout the day or you're making a lot of moves, that you have high performance fabric that will be able to stand those tests of times. And when you're in those spaces where you can be elegant, you can be chill, you can be suave, you can be sophisticated and sexy, you have those fabrics that will be conducive for that space. So the sixth thing, and I forgot about this one, so we're adding it now, so it will be 6, but the title says 5, is that men are wearing their pants way too tight. It used to be that men were wearing their pants too loose. Now they are wearing them too tight. Fellas, there's a difference between tight and tailored or tapered. You should be able to move around in your pants without your fabric touching your leg. If it is touching your leg beyond the bottom of the thigh, then your pants are probably too tight, and that's going to cause some strain on the seams, which could cause the seams to rip. It's going to potentially add some issues for that center of attention that we talked about last week. So it is vitally important that you understand that your pants should be tapered and tailored. They should not be tight. So before I get up out of here, question of the day is, how were you wearing your pants wrong? I know for me, when I started, I was wearing my pants on my hips. I was, and I had some other issues where, because of that, my rise on my pants was too short. I was wearing my pants too long at first, then they were too high. So I just recently, probably about 4 years ago, really understood my breaking point. Get that pun? Wasn't funny? Okay. So I've made some very big mistakes that have cost me a lot of money, and I hope that I won't cost you, or that these tips will help you and keep you from making the same mistakes that I did. But I would love to hear if you made any of those mistakes, what those mistakes are, so that we can get that rectified. If you have any questions, please make sure that you leave those in the comment box about pants, trousers, or shoes, and I'll be happy to answer them for you. And beyond that, please make sure that you give this a thumbs up if you found this video informative. Please make sure that you have subscribed if you haven't. I mean, you here every week. Why haven't you subscribed yet? And make sure that you check us out Monday through Friday for all of our many conversations that we will be having when it comes to the consciousness of your clothing, the construction of your character, and the communication of your character to the world. Before I go, you know what it is. Dress is nothing more than the expression of a man's state of mind, so you should always dress to express. I'll see you next week. Peace.